Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end of the video. This is another paid request, this time for Jack Thompson. Thanks to you for that. I appreciate it. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is a bit of a different one where Jack Thompson wanted me to do a take on a movie where I look at the cast and crew then and now, and that is for the film Drive. Now, before I get into that, for those who don't know, Drive is a film that came out, some say 1998, but technically 1997, and sadly is a film that was pretty much dumped onto VHS with this cover. It was a cut of the film that was shortened. The music was different. And how do I put it? Still a very fun, entertaining movie. And then it wasn't until some time later where there was an extended cut of the film released, mainly overseas, not really in the US. But thankfully MVD did release it. Now I believe they also have a 4K, but I'll stick with the Blu-ray. And also 88 Films is coming out with a 4K of this. And if I understand, you can play 4K from any region on any player. I could be wrong on that. Now, for those who don't know, Drive, pretty much Rush Hour before Rush Hour. You got Dacascos, you got Kadeem Hardison. And this cover doesn't really sell the film well, because Mark does not look like that. He doesn't wear those clothes, let alone those blue jeans. He's not two fist, two hand, two fists, guns ablaze and bang bang. Kadeem Hardison doesn't even have that hair. He has short hair. When in the movie he has long hair. Like, this is the way they looked in the film. So it's a poor way of selling the movie. And even this here, with the title, they have almost the Speed look to the titles. It makes it seem as if it's a car race movie or something about cars. Like, this does not show how much of a martial arts jamboree this film happens to be. I remember, and there's features from the overseas DVD, that Brett Ratner went up to Kadeem Hardison and he said, man, if this movie was released theatrically, like a wide release, we would not have been able to make our film. And I like Rush Hour. I like Rush Hour 2. I do think this film's better because not only it's still funny, humor works, but the fight scenes and action scenes, as Fabio, Italian Stallion 51 said, this is one of the closest movies they came to an American version of a Hong Kong martial arts movie. There's been many martial arts films in America, but the closest to come to that Hong Kong feel is this movie, or at least one of them. So if you like martial arts and action, this is highly recommended. And these two work very well together. Looks good in the 4K scan. And I believe this is on YouTube if people want to watch it. But highly recommend it. So, love the movie. Now with that said, to get into the cast and crew, first up to the crew we have Steve Wang. Now Steve Wang, he was a special effects guy. He was a makeup guy. This is a guy that was part of Rick Baker's crew as a sculptor on Harry and the Hendersons. He was part of, working with Stan Winston on films like Predator. He worked on The Deal Man and The Monster Squad. He helped do creature effects on Hell Comes to Frog Town with Roddy Piper. He worked a little bit on Deep Star 6 with the other people on there. He was a sculptor on one of the crews for Elm Street 5. He was also part of the crew on Rick Baker's group in Gremlins 2. He worked on Creatures in the Diver. Until ultimately he got to direct. And the films he directed, The Diver. Well, he helped direct Retrieving Mad George. And there's some good makeup effects, but the star, the lead, The poster's misleading, makes you think as if Mark Hamill is the diver when he's not. He's just a police officer who's helping out. And he just turned to a monster. The lead guy I thought was really lame. It's a very flawed film, although it has some good creature effects. He did another film, Kung Fu Rascals, which I reviewed. Very goofy, silly, but kind of creative comedy, martial arts movie, which I think Steve Wayne had a part in acting in as well. That's entertaining for what it is. Guyver 2 Dark Hero, much more of an improvement of the Guyver. It seemed like Steve Wayne had much more control in this. And like an R-rated Ninja Turtle Power Ranger feel of a movie where you have David Hayter, the guy who would voice Solid Snake in the Metal Gear Solid series. They're the same guy that voiced Solid Snake in this. He was just an actor. He would go on to write films like X-Men 2, among other movies. He got to be the star. And it's more back to basics, but more bloody, gory, that Hong Kong action martial arts feel to it. Guyver 2 Dark Hero is highly recommended, and that's another film I would like to get the Blu-ray of. Very underrated film. And then a few years later, he did this film. And just the blood, sweat, and tears are in the movie. They worked hard on it. And sadly, the film did nothing. It barely got a release. So then after that, he directed some episodes of Kamen Rider, Dragon Knight, which I never saw, from 2008 to 2010. And then pretty much he went back to effects work, honestly. Because after that, just those films didn't do anything. He was a painter on the 98 Godzilla. He was part of the effects crew on Idle Hands. He was part of the effects crew as a sculptor on Rain of Fire. And he was part of the effects crew on Darkness Falls, Blade Trinity. He was an art supervisor. Underworld Evolution. He was an art director. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem. He was part of the creature effects crew. He was a supervising art director. And I guess he worked on the robot in Bill and Ted Face the Music. So it's sad that his directing career didn't really take off. I mean, other than directing and also producing, I don't know, about 40 episodes of that Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. Well, he directed 16, but he'll produce about 40 episodes. Those films, Guyver 2 Dark Hero and Drive, just had barely any release. And they're two very underrated, solid films. And I've said this in the past. You know, people would ask me, hey, who would you get to direct a Ninja Turtles movie? And I'm like, okay, if you're talking about the late 90s, early 2000s, when the New Line Cinema films have come and gone, it's been years since, I would say Steve Wayne. Because if you take the humor and martial arts of this movie, and the way these two have a good rapport with each other, and you take the creature effects work, people doing these crazy martial arts in these suits, and not worrying about getting a bit too bloody, like in Guyver 2 Dark Hero. And plus he has an effects background, so he knows about how effects work. Working with people on Rick Baker's crew, Stan Winston's crew, then helping work on the Gillman Monster Squad. Martial arts, creature effect work, people in suits, utilizing martial arts. That to me is prime candidate for a Ninja Turtles movie. So I think Steve Wayne would have been a great choice. Maybe even still, if he's willing to direct again. But sadly, that's just not... They don't want to do anything with fucking... Well, they want to do that stupid-ass bullshit. Whatever. But anyway, Steve Wayne, underrated talent that never got his proper due. That's the one thing I don't like about this release. There's nothing new There's no new interviews. There's no new commentaries. There's just the old commentary, which is very fun to listen to. There's the old documentary from the overseas DVD from many years ago. But there's nothing new, which is a shame. It's a shame. But it is what it is. I do recommend watching Scott Adkins' interview show, and he does interview Mark Dacascos, and I know Scott Adkins is a big fan of this movie, so I do recommend watching that. Now, the guy who helped write is Scott Phillips. Let's see what he's done, because he also helped, what was it? Scott Phillips will actually direct a few films, which I never even heard of. Gimme Skelter. The possible son of Charles Manson chooses a town as that's going to die to get daddy's attention. It's so good, it has a 3.9 on IMDb. He did that in 2007. Never even heard of that film. What the hell was the other film he directed? Crowbar in 2010. Now, he wrote Drive, but then he helped write Horror Vision. Pretty awful film. I think J.R. Bookwalter had a hand in producing that. Which, the guy seems like a nice guy, but his films are not really the best of movies. I mean, the closest is maybe The Dead Next Door and Ozone, maybe. Yeah, but he didn't direct this one. Neither of them. It was directed by, oh god, I can't even, Danny Draven. But I guess J.R. Bookwalter and Scott Phillips helped work on the story. But yeah, Horror Vision has a whopping 3.3. Can't really blame it because it's a pretty bad film. But yeah, the guy directed Crowbar. When a young couple moves to a new house in a new town, something just doesn't seem right. Halloween Psycho ain't got nothing on Wendell. Crowbar, The Killings of Wendell Graves. Who the hell? Author of Montauk Babies. The fuck is that? I'm sorry, I haven't seen the film, but I already know it's not going to be better than Halloween in Psycho. Come on now. Give me a break. He would write Crips with a Z. Crips with a Z? Wedding Slashers? Oh, he helped write a few episodes of Kamen Rider Dreaded Night, which Steve Wayne was a part of. Crips with a Z. Aspiring rappers Times Square, Fuzzy Down, and Licorice cross paths with stripper Stacia. They follow her to a mysterious strip club where the sexy ladies are really vampires in disguise. So right, a really crappy ripoff of From Dusk Till Dawn. Crips with a Z. Like zombies. Kim helped work on the script. Dead Time Tales 2. Uncredited. Really, I mean, The Boy with the X-Ray Eyes in 1999. Yeah, so pretty much nothing worth a crap since Drive. Shows that, it's not the script of Drive, it's the performers, the actors, and the director by Steve Wayne. Maybe not so much the writer. But just because of the writer, who knows how many times it got rewritten, who rewrote it, who ad-libbed, Kadeem Hardison, funny guy. Extreme. Okay, the movie's also called Extreme Teens. Okay. Makes sense that all these movies I'm talking about, just like a 3.3 or 3.0 or 3.4. But then you look at Drive, and it has 6.7, which I think should be higher than that, but definitely a world of difference. I'm not sure what else on the crew to look at, but the big one, Mark Dacascos. This is a guy who had bit parts back in the day. He was on an episode of the Flash TV show, and the episode called Child's Play. He was on an episode of Duty Hauser MD. I remember this bit part in Angel Town with Oliver Gruner. Angel Town's a fun Oliver Gruner movie. Not my favorite, that would be Nemesis, and Nemesis, Automatic, then Angel Town. He was in American Samurai, where he was the bad guy, faced off against David Bradley, and then he did Only the Strong, which I remember hearing from someone when Only the Strong, which is a bigger studio film, that something about he was going to do promotion, but then he said he couldn't because he had to go jump on the do Double Dragon, and then people were saying, don't do that, man, don't do that, the studio is going to be a bit miffed and pissed at you. But he did it anyway. I don't know if that was the truth, if that was just a rumor, but it's just one of the things I've heard that may have hurt him in the long run. I don't know for certain. Maybe the person was put me on, but I remember hearing about that, and director Sheldon Lettich was not satisfied with the movie's fight content, claiming years later, and put up your dukes. Oh, documentary. That fight choreographer Frank Dukes did not deliver as a creative martial arts scenes as he had conceptualized. Oh, Sheldon Lettich, here we go. The director, Sheldon Lettich had done Lionheart with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Double Impact. Mark's manager got Mark signed to do another movie almost immediately after reshot, which was be Double Dragon. That film was a disastrous train wreck, running way over budget with a schedule that was completely out of control. On top of that, it ended up being a terrible movie. Double Dragon, yeah. The reason I mentioned that movie is that Mark was stuck on it for weeks and weeks beyond their scheduled completion date, and was therefore unable to do any promotion for Only the Strong, which was a pity because the movie went through the roof when 20th Century Fox tested it with a live audience. As I recall, the number of people in the audience rated it very good or excellent. As a result, the Fox executives were very high on the movie, and they had scheduled me, Mark Dacascos, and Paco Prieto for a 3-week promotional tour in 12 cities across the U.S. But Mark was stuck on Double Dragon, so the tour had to be postponed again and again, and eventually canceled. This is because of the manager, Catherine James's, misguided decision to stick Mark in this terrible train wreck of a movie before Only the Strong had even been released. So that's from Sheldon Lettich's mouth, which probably pissed off 20th Century Fox. Plus, the film didn't do much. There's always room to blame. And, Only the Strong's a good movie, but it didn't do anything. And then Double Dragon didn't do anything, because it's an awful piece of shit. So then, next thing you know, he's doing Kickboxer 5. Which I like more than 2, 3, and 4, but that's because I like Mark Dacascos more than Sasha Mitchell, Step by Step. Crying Freeman, good movie. Maybe, yeah, it's a artfully done, well directed, not a lot of action. Well, there's some good set pieces, but it saves the action for the finale. I think it's one of Mark Dacascos' better films. His best to me is Drive. Crying Freeman's up there. Oh, he was in the video game Wing Commander 4. Sabotage, it's alright. That deals with a sniper played by, I think, Tony Todd, who's the villain. And Mark Dacascos has to protect, along with Carrie-Anne Moss, before she did The Matrix. And yeah, Tibor Takas, who did The Date, Sally's probably one of his better films after The Date. It's better than the other film he did with Mark Dacascos, Sanctuary, which was very boring. But Sabotage, nothing to do with the Beastie Boys. It's alright for what it is. I mean, it could be better. But considering all the other later Mark Dacascos is one of the better ones. Island of Dr. Moreau, I mean, you could barely recognize it is Mark under all that makeup. So, that movie's just a train wreck. DNA, which he did before this movie. DNA, I can watch and have fun, but I can understand. That's that movie I can defend. It's pretty much Mark Dacascos' version of Predator. Now, it was cool to see Mark Dacascos in a creature feature film. It was cool to see the practical effects. I believe, was it KMB who worked on that? I believe so. I want to say it was KMB. Mark Dacascos is a doctor who he's gotten in touch by Jurgen Prochnow, who says he has a cure to help a lot of sick people. It is definitely the lower end of a B movie. Again, it's very hard to put my dukes up for that movie. It needed a lot more action. The monster is barely used, whether because of the director or because of the budget. But I can watch it because I'm a sucker for those B-movie monster films with a practical creature. And you get someone like Mark Dacascos doing his little bit of a predator, hunting the creature at the end. He jumps over a waterfall, jumps, blows up the creature, although it's not really the best effect. But you needed a lot more action and a lot more gore and a better... There's a lot of flaws with that film. It's a film I would take to eat. I would be too generous for, because, again, like I said, I'm a sucker for... They should have had him do martial arts in the damn thing. At least it would have been more of a fun B-movie. Sadly, I would watch that over some of the other ones Mark has done. Just for... I'm a creature feature... When action heroes go into the creature feature market, I'm a sucker for that. Red Line, pretty forgettable. Rutger Hauer film, where Mark is the bad guy. Same year as this movie. To me, his best one. Sanctuary, not much action. Tibor Tatis directs again. I thought Sabotage was better. No Code of Conduct. Charlie Sheen got more of the buzz, other than Mark Dacascos was underused. The Base, I expected better from Mark L. Lester, because I mean, he did Commando, Showdown Low Tokyo. Yes, I know it's low budget, but I've seen PM Entertainment films. I've seen Deadly Outbreak, Street Night. I mean, I've seen... I don't know, maybe I need to see that one again. Oh, shut up, cat. The Crow Stairway to Heaven. I reviewed the pilot episode. I thought Mark was good. Not sure about the show itself. He was on an episode of Martial Law, which I have over here, the TV show. Very fun TV show starring Sammo Hung. Sadly, only lasted 2 years. And Arsenio Hall got into a bit of the second season, but... which I liked. Fun show, and Mark Dacascos got to have a fight with Sammo Hung, which was cool. Brotherhood of the Wolf, same director of Crying Freeman, same director that would go direct the Silent Hill movie, the first one. Good direction, but Mark should have been the lead. I didn't care about the lead guy. They should have made Mark and his character the lead guy, because he was the one that stuck out the best. He was the one more interesting. He was the one to be more talented. And why didn't... Spoiler alert. Well, how they use his character was piss poor. And I'm like, wow, he would have been a lot better than the lead guy. That's my issue with that. Instinct to Kill, you got these two guys back, but they don't really get to share much of scenes together. And it's not really their film anyway. It's more about this woman whose like boyfriend is beating her up and abusing her. And like the title is the cover is a lie. Like Mark Dacascos does not use a gun. Kadeem Hardison, he's barely in the film. He doesn't really share any scenes with Mark Dacascos. And yet it's about this guy who is targeting his wife, and his wife wants to self-defense. So he gets Mark Dacascos to teach her a bit of self-defense, and it's up to the girl to deal with this bad guy. I don't even remember if Kadeem Hardison got killed off, or I don't remember. But yeah, Mark Dacascos I thought was underutilized. Same with Kadeem Hardison. Scorcher, that's a pretty much Sci-Fi Channel type of movie. Is that the film they steal? Yeah, Rutger Hauer's in it. John Rhys Davies from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is that the film they steal footage? I swear there's a... They steal footage from... Yeah, they steal footage from Daylight. They steal footage from Dante's Peak. So it's one of those films that just is cheap enough it steals footage from other movies. He was on a Mortal Kombat TV show as Kung Lao. Trail to the Grave, he was the villain. But the fight between him and Jet Li was just... I liked the film. I saw it in the theater. I did some entertainment out of it. I enjoy it. But there's a lot of things that could have been done better, like the fight between Jet Li and Mark Dacascos. And a lot of these films, Solar Attack, which was a made for, I don't know, Sci-Fi Channel movie with Louis Gossett Jr. in it. Hunt for Ito 1. Alien Agent. The one I liked was I Am Omega, which I know I shouldn't because it's an asylum film. It has flaws, don't get me wrong, because it's an asylum film. But I would give it higher than a 3.3. Because Mark Dacascos gets to kick some zombie ass. And there's even a point, granted too briefly, they use his fucking nunchucks. And he beats the shit out of some zombies with nunchucks. Again, should have been longer. I like Mark Dacascos' performance. I'm pissing on you, world. Like, he's going a bit crazy. He's of isolation. It has its flaws in terms of direction, as in the way some shots are utilized, and the cinematography is not the best. I think that works better because it's zombies, so it's not crappy CGI every 5 minutes. And you have a guy, Mark, who gets to do a little bit of acting, a little bit of martial arts fighting. And Mark Dacascos being the star helps that film a lot. So, and I'm a Mark Dacascos fan, so I actually like I Am Omega. And he was on Iron Chef, which he found a new lease in life, Iron Chef. He worked on some of Kamen Rider Dragon Knight with Steve Wang. Mortal Kombat Legacy as Kung Lao. He's in a couple episodes of that. He was in the stupid parody The Expendables that Brian Thompson did. That just looks absolutely dog shit. With... I mean, just dog shit. Sorry, Brian Thompson. You're not Sylvester Stallone. You're not Mel Brooks. And he directed it, too. Just a terrible spoof of The Expendables. Terrible. And somehow Mark Dacascos got dragged into doing a cameo in that. He was in Showdown Manila, which was terrible. Very, very disappointing, considering he directed it. Maximum Impact, I forgot about that movie. That's another terrible film. And a thing that links these films together is Alexander Nevsky. who wants so badly to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. He really does. He wants to be Arnold Schwarzenegger of his home, but yeah, he didn't direct the films, but he's helping I think like the finance. I get to be the star of these movies. I'm the next Arnold. I'm like, no, you're not. Just terrible, lazy films. Like Showdown Manila and Maximum Impact, just garbage. Two of the worst ones he's been in. The Driver, One Night in Bangkok, I found disappointing. I think One Night in Bangkok was not as good as it could have been. So I find it disappointing. I know my friend Effrey likes it more than I do. He was in the Hawaii Five-0 TV show. I didn't know that. In 17 episodes. He's in another film, but I want to save that for last. I didn't run Iron Chef. But John Wick 3. It was great to see him in John Wick 3. It's great for the world to see that this guy, he's talented with comedic timing, as well as action. He knew how to fight. He has a great fight with Keanu Reeves. He's having a lot of fun as the villain. I loved Mark Dacascos. It was great to see him in there. And John Wick Chapter 3 was a lot of fun. I still love all the John Wick films. And in my opinion, they get better and better with each one. So, there's some people that say the first one's the best. I love the first one, but I think the sequels... John Wick 2 might be my favorite. It goes back between 2 and 3. But I love all three of them. And Mark... A lot of joy to see him in that movie. Really it was. Now some of these other films I don't know much about. Batman, I've heard of Batman Soul of the Dragon, which is an animated movie, which Mark Dacascos has a voice as Richard Dragon. Batman, Bronze Tiger, Lady Shiva, and Richard Dragon join forces when they come to realize they share a common acquaintance. So, yeah, Mark Dacascos, Kelly Hu, Michael Jai White. Although they don't have him as David Giuntoli as Bruce Wayne. I don't know who this guy is, and I don't know why they didn't get the guy for Batman the animated series. That's too bad. Sorry, look, what has he done? Other Batman? Or is this the only Batman he's done? I'm not seeing... I guess this is the only Batman he's done, huh? Wonder why. Let's see. Assault on VA-33. 4.2. Sean Patrick Flannery, Mark Dacascos, Michael Jai White. Sean Patrick Flannery is the lead. I don't know about... I'm watching the trailer now. I don't know about this movie. So Mark Dacascos is like a sniper. Why the hell is Sean Patrick Flannery the lead doing the ass kicking, not Mark Dacascos and Michael Jai White? So it looks like Mark Dacascos is barely in this. Oh, come on. Sean Patrick Flannery is going to have a martial arts fight with Mark Dacascos? Am I supposed to buy that? Come on, man. Does anyone even know who the fuck Sean Patrick Flannery is nowadays? I mean, this came out 2021. Something called Running Gun, which has Oh, it's going to be a small role in that. Other people I don't recognize. I know I'm like 35 minutes in, but the others I'll go by quick. But you know, Mark Dacascos is my favorite of this group, so he gets a bit more. And then these films I never heard of. Until there's not going to be a 47 Ronin sequel. Come on, what? What? Knights of the Zodiac. Elite cosmic force dedicated to protect the Greek goddess Athena and the planet Earth. What the fuck is this? Knights of the Zodiac. Famke Johnson, Sean Bean, Nick Stahl, Mark Dacascos. What? Someone called Jade. Some lady with a 70s thick ass afro. Mickey Rourke taking a paycheck. Shayna West. I'll stick with Jade with David Caruso. Legend of the White Dragon. In the aftermath, the city was left decimated. Okay. Legend of the White Dragon. Looks like a Power Rangers thing. Jason David Frank is the star of it. Stars many members of the Power Rangers cast in the spirit of the more mature Power Rangers movie, but is not officially Power Rangers. Okay. So it's like, we can't do a series Power Rangers movie, so we're going to do this. Okay, well, hopefully they don't get sued. So there you go. Untitled 47 Ronin sequel? Why? Who? Produced for streaming service on Netflix? Why? No one liked 47 Ronin. Why? I'm doing like the Robert De Niro look. So, I mean, Kadeem Hardison, comedian, very funny movie. He was on an episode of Cosby Show. He was in I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. That's a fun film. Death by Temptation, which I wasn't big on the movie. White Men Can't Jump. Goofing with Wesley Snipes. He was very hilarious there. Going to Sizzler. You're going to the Sizzler. Small Part in Gunman, underrated movie with Christopher Lambert and Mario Van Peebles. He was on 142 episodes of A Different World as Dwayne Wayne in 1987-1993. I forgot he was on Renaissance Man with Danny DeVito and a very early Mark Wahlberg. That's right. Forgot about that. Vampire in Brooklyn, he was like one of the only good spots in that movie. I thought he was funnier than Eddie Murphy in Vampire in Brooklyn. Six Man, Marlon Wayans film that I always forget about that it exists. Drive, which Kadeem Hardison's proud of it because he's on the commentary, and that was a newer commentary from, at least, I don't know how many years it was between it came out and that DVD from overseas, but decent amount. I would say that's my favorite role of his. He's worked with Mark Dacascos before. You know, again, he was in that movie Instinct to Kill, 2 episodes of The Crow Stairway to Heaven as the Skull Cowboy. Which that'd be cool to see them. Maybe they're together in that one, unlike Instinct to Kill. Oh yeah, he had a big role in Showtime playing off Eddie Murphy. That's a fun movie, Showtime. That's an Eddie Murphy no one really talks about. But I thought it was pretty decent for the later Eddie Murphy stuff. Biker Boys. Pretty much one of those movies try to be Fast and the Furious but with motorcycles. TV show Abby. Never even heard of. Static Shock. Is that a cartoon? Oh yeah, The Voice. Yeah, cartoon. I've heard of it, I haven't seen it. 3 episodes of a show called Just for Kicks. Episode My Name is Earl. Oh yeah, he was on 2 episodes of House MD. Okay. Sorry, none of these brats as Sasha's dad. Episode of Ghost Whisperer, episode of Cold Case. A TV movie called Ricochet. Some of those, The Face of Terror with Ricky Schroeder and Eric Balfour. Police officer searching for his missing sister in Spain uncovers a terrorist cell. 4.3. Okay. Never even heard of that. Just for Tits, a Nickelodeon show about a girls' soccer team. What Up? With Kadeem Hardison, Godfrey, Roberto Sanchez. Two bubbling janitors stumble across a briefcase full of cash. What Up? A 1.6. Jesus. This is also known as The Sweep, but here it's called What Up. Fuck. Android Cop. Is that the Michael Jai White film? A TV miniseries called Canine Undercover? TV show called Love Is. Canine Undercover, parody of the popular American comedy TV series Casey Undercover. But okay, it's that but with dogs. Alright, never even fucking heard of that. Something called Love Is, which he has a small part in. Yeah, Android Cop is that movie with Michael Jai White. Just a 3.2. I just like bit parts. Something called Moonhaven. Not a lot of bit parts for Kadeem Hardison, which is too bad. He's a talented guy. Moonhaven. Lunar cargo pilot and smuggler 100 years in the future who finds herself accused of a crime marooned on Moonhaven, a utopian community set on a 500 square bit of the moon, I guess. That's in pre-production. Or, is it pre or post? I forget. Maybe post. Anyway, get into the others. John Piper Ferguson, who plays sort of the redneck villain. Let's see. A lot of this stuff I might not recognize. Before that, he was working in the 80s. He was Eddie Wood in Prom Night 2. Didn't know he was in that. He was Stan Fraker in Pin. This is the one I think of. I remember that being a decent movie. Jamie on Burn on a Wire. See, I don't recognize him in those movies, though. Charlie Hector in Unforgiven. Episodes of Star Trek Next Generations. Episode of Walker Texas Ranger. I do remember him from Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. That's a pretty decent show with Bruce Campbell. Interrupting Henchmen and McHale's Navy with Tom Arnold. And then he did this film. Then he was in For Richer or Poorer. He was in a few episodes of The X-Files. Okay. Did not know that. Episode of Dash Bridges, 2 of them. 2 episodes of Millennium. Playing 2 different characters. Oh wow, he was in a few episodes. Oh, okay. He's Top Dollar and The Crow Stairway to Heaven. Okay. Ah, no wonder I didn't even put that together. So that's kind of cool. Let's see. Episodes of The Huntress. Don't even know what that is. The Outer Limits. The one from 96 to 2001. A lot of TV. Episode of 24. Episodes of Jeremiah. Is that the one with just wait. The Huntress. Adventures of a Mother and Daughter Bounty Hunters. Really? Mother and Daughter Bounty Hunters, and it stars Annette O'Toole? Wow, Annette O'Toole is a bounty hunter. With Jordana Spiro and James Remar in it. Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, Jeremiah, that's the one with Luke Perry. Michael Jamal Warner. And yeah, Sean Astin's in it. Episode of CSI Miami, which I love CSI Miami. Minivan Father and X-Men The Last Stand. Episode of Terminator Sarah Tower Chronicles. A lot of TV. Pretty much a lot of TV work. I think he was in the other Drive as Bearded Redneck. That's funny. He's in 2 films called Drive. Episodes of Burn Notice. So he was able to work with Bruce Campbell again. Episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., 3 of them. TV show called Suits. Episodes of The 100. He's pre-production. Hetzengieden as Reverend Tanner. Don't know what that is. Witches versus the World. Okay. Brittany Murphy, sadly, she passed away in 2009. She was doing episodes as Luann on Teen of the Hill TV show. You know, she was doing bit parts of little films like Deadline. She was a voice in Happy Feet. It's sad, one of the films she's in is called The Dead Girl. And now one of her last films is Deadline. She looks dead on the cover. That's really unfortunate. The Groomsmen. But Brittany Murphy, I mean, some of her popular ones was in Sin City as Shelley, Just Buried, 8 Mile with Eminem, Don't Say a Word, that's the film with Michael Douglas, Cherry Falls, where the killer goes after virgins. Interesting idea, but I think it could have been done better. The Groomsmen, that's a film that has Edward Burns, John Leguizamo, Matthew Lillard, Donald Lowe, Jeff J. Moore, and Brittany Murphy. She was in Drop Dead Gorgeous, Girl Interrupted, which I think that had Winona Ryder in it. The Prophecy 2. And she was in this film in 97. Before that, she was in episodes of Murder 1, Sequest 2032, Boy Meets World, Sister Sister, Clueless. She was Ty, the lady that became friends with Alicia Silverstone, and then she was more popular. She did a wonderful job in that. I like Clueless. She starred with an episode of Murphy's Brown, an episode of Parker Lewis Can't Lose, some of Drexel's Class, and others. So her big film role to start was Clueless. Freeway, Drive, I mean, this was 97, and Clueless was 95, so rest in peace, Brittany Murphy. Tracy Walter, who plays sort of the redneck villain sidekick, he's been a sidekick a lot. He was Bob the Goon in Batman 89 to Jack Nicholson's Joker. He was Arnold's sidekick in Conan the Destroyer. He played the Cookie in City Slickers. He had a role in Repo Man. I think he's still with us, but he hasn't done anything since 2016. He was in 31 as Lucky Leo. But TV shows he's done episodes of Monk, Reno 911. I remember that. That was funny. Episodes of Nash Bridges. A lot of like supporting roles. Conservancy Guard in Mighty Joe Young from 1998. Clerk in Bookstore and Kiss the Girls. Leon in Wild America. Larger Than Life he was in with Bill Murray. Cyborg 2. Yeah. A lot of episode stuff. Young Guns 2 he was in. Episodes of Freddy's Nightmares as the Gravedigger. I forgot he was on... I remember Elf. That's right. When the Elf is riding the train, riding the rails, and there's a homeless guy, and it's Tracy Walter. And for some reason, he's like, "Oh, it's a kangaroo!" And he jumps off the train. And Will is like, "Well, he landed on his head." Yeah, a lot of TV work. I mean, he went back to the 70s. Bit parts in films like Annie Hall, Going South, Mental Patient, Male Teller. Like, this is his characters' names. Mr. Beatty and the Octagon. Time Rider, the film with Fred Ward. Pooch and Honky Tonk Man. And one of his bigger roles was as the sidekick in Conan the Destroyer. Malone, where I believe Burt Reynolds, he was in that. Diner Counterman and Midnight Run. Guy, for the most part, was under the radar. James Shigeta, who was kind of the guy who wants Mark Dacascos, but he's overseas. He's the guy who played Takagi in Die Hard. You just don't have to kill me. Okay. Guess we'll do it the hard way. So yeah, the guy who played Takagi in the first Die Hard, he's the guy in this film. And sadly, he passed away in 2014. But he's going back to today. He was in Midway. He's been in a lot of movies. He was in the 1998 Mulan as the voice of a general. He was in Cage 2. He was on episodes of Murder, She Wrote. But yeah, I think most people recognize him from Die Hard as Takagi. You know, pretty much the head guy of that building, Nakatomi. Just shot right in the head. I mean, he was born in Hawaii. And I think he did an Elvis film as well. I don't remember that's... which one that is. Because he was in the Crimson Kimono. Yes, this is a beautiful American girl in the arms of a Japanese boy. And that was supposed to be unheard of in 1959. And he was also in Bridge to the Sun. I don't remember what Elvis Presley film he was in. So I'm looking up. Flower Drum Song with Nancy Kwan. Cry for Happy with Glenn Ford. Yeah, I cannot remember. But anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it wasn't. But other people... The advanced model who fights Mark Dacascos, he was in Crying Freeman. He had bit parts in films like Godzilla 1998. A lot of TV work. Terraformers, A New Hope. A lot of films from overseas. Mostly over there, overseas. Titles I can't even recognize. And yeah, David Hayter, who plays a cop in this. Just cop. He was a guy who would do voice work, additional voices in Street Fighter 2 V, in Diver 2 Dark Hero, and would do voices of Steve Rogers and the Spider-Man 90s cartoon, Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid, of course. He helped write X-Men 2. He would do a lot of voice work of Metal Gear Solid. So he also helped write... He worked on the screenplay for X-Men, The Scorpion King, X-Men 2, Watchmen. Some miniseries announced called World War III, where robots have taken over the world to destroy the humankind. Now the almighty gods have to fight their way to the better life. It just announced, that's it. Oh yeah, he helped write that film Wolves, which I remember being alright for what it is. Like, better than it had any right to be. But yeah, that's there you go. That is that. So thanks once again, Jack Thompson. Take care, guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.